everyone, welcome to Millennium Live. My name is Katie, and today I have a very special guest. We are joined with Nick Van Weerdenberg, who is the founder and the CEO of Rangle. Hi, Nick. Thanks so much for joining us.
Hi, thanks for having me here.
I'm so curious to hear more about Rangle, and I really want to start from the beginning. So, can you just tell me what does digital transformation mean for Rangle, and I guess for you too?
It's a good question because the word can mean a lot of different things for different people. In short, for me, digital transformation is what you need to do as a business to compete in a digital economy. So it's thinking about things digitally first. It's about finding new customers through digital means. It's not just servicing your existing clients digitally, but really being a digital business.
Mhm.
And as digital, really uh, increases in all avenues of our lives, companies have to transform to operate like a digital business. So just implementing, new software solutions and apps and, doing things with your old management structure and your old way of working isn't going to be competitive in the future. So digital transformation is building the digital platforms and products, but most importantly, the operating model that allows you to listen to customers and markets and continuously create digital value in the market.
Right. So, based on that, how would you say that Wrangle helps organizations really transform?
So everything we do is based upon our core pillars of what we do from a digital perspective, and we specialize in building customer experiences and front end applications. The touch point of users. So if you really want to be a digital first company and you want to be more customer centric and you want to prioritize what you work on, you want to do something where you create teams that can listen to customers, build what they need, come up with hypotheses, test them, learn. You want to become a learning organization and you want to learn in market with your customers through these digital channels. So we specialize very deeply in all the core touch points of building a next generation customer experience, digital experience platform for our clients. And whether that's front end technology, design systems, cloud native, anything that really is best in class enablement for being a digital first customer centric company. And we build up these capabilities. We have communities of practice. And then what we do is we partner with our clients in their core business to help them transform by bringing the operating model to them, as opposed to doing consulting and leaving them with PowerPoint decks and running classes. We actually bring the outcome and work side by side with our clients to create the outcomes they're looking for.
Wow, that's wonderful. So, I'm curious because transformation is definitely not easy, and I'm sure it comes with its own challenges and problems. Could you say there are some common challenges or common problems that occur at the beginning of transformation?
I could go on for hours, probably. Decision making is really hard. Judgment's hard. Understanding customers is hard. Everything is actually fairly difficult when you're trying to innovate and build new digital products.
Mhm.
And so, the the foundations of a digital transformation or any kind of transformation is having the culture, the expectations, and the permission for people and the experience for people to work in a new way. So culture, you have to have a culture that sort of is not afraid to fail, that is learning centric, that's always teaching, growing, and learning. You want to have a customer centric culture. You want to have the team members with the skills to do this work in this new way. And you want them to develop the experience doing it. So you lock in the culture and the mindset of working in this way digitally. So you've got skills, culture, and mindset. And that's very, very hard to do because if people haven't done the work, if they haven't worked in a modern digital operating model in a transformed state, it's very easy for that to be rolled back. You have one, a VP change within a company. You have any idea tends to get, too much feedback and sort of it gets squashed because there's no clear ownership for teams to solve problems for clients. There's always someone else who has to review something. So what seems to make sense statically is doesn't make sense dynamically, where you have to move fast at internet time and listen to customers, build and test. So it's really the biggest challenge is to get the experience working in this model so it sticks.
Right.
And to do that, you have to create the permission, the enablers, and remove the friction in the organization that stops people from moving to this model.
Mhm.
There's an interesting concept in transformation and change, behavioral change, that when you push people to change, they're under tension all the time and they'll revert back. But if you remove the blockers to change, then people will change naturally because there's less tension in changing. So rather than sort of trying to push an organization to change, to create the space for the organization to change by partnering with a company that works in that model is how we think about it. And that's where without that experiential learning, that immersion, change is pretty superficial, and often, companies don't know why they're failing, but it's because they really just haven't evolved far enough, fast enough, and that's the experience gap.
So, what roadblocks really happen while the transformation is underway then?
So, a couple of really good examples are capacity to do the work, because organizations are operationally efficient. So they prioritize for capacity, not for the ability to get the work done quickly. So you have a team that's building a new experience for a company's customers, but every time they need to do something, they have to go talk with multiple other teams in the organization. Those other teams in the organization have different priorities. So what happens is, oh, we need to do this. Well, that's not our priority this quarter. Maybe we'll get to it next quarter. So there's all these little death by a thousand cuts that happen, and getting the full alignment and a fully capable, enabled team to do the work and make the changes, that needs to be invested in. So creating the capacity on a team so the team has what it needs when it needs it, and they can move as fast as possible.
So, I'm curious now, where do you think organizations typically get stuck on their digital transformation roadmap? Is there a specific location or not necessarily?
They get stuck everywhere, and most of it is in the fundamentals. So there's always a reason not to do something or to not give up a certain amount of responsibility, to not go far enough, because it's a change.
Mhm.
So you're moving from an environment of decision makers in control. That's your sort of pre-transformation state, to a environment of autonomous teams that solve customer problems. To do that, you have to trust the teams are going to solve the right problem. So your strategic planning process needs to let the teams be autonomous and solve customer problems. So they have to give higher level goals, which is a completely different model of strategic planning, because most companies are too risk averse. They want to have concreteness.
Right.
And then you have to be able to give feedback back up to executives. So executives have to give high level guidance, and they've got to get value metrics back from the teams. Once you've got teams that can work and generate value quick enough and communicate that back through the organization, then your executive governance process can support that model. But it's a bit of a transformation chasm. So, the senior leaders have to understand how the teams are going to work and trust it. And the teams have to be given the permission to do that. And any of the organizational infrastructure needs to be updated to support it. So there's these pressures to resist the change. And then you have a lot of people in the middle management, which actually, it doesn't fit to that team-based model, because they're translation layers that work in a slower cadence. They don't work on that real-time, customer-centric team model.
Right. So, do you think it is possible to undergo a successful digital transformation without the buy-in of the entire organization?
It's really about experiencing experience and understanding, and then it's about making the hard decisions to sort of get to that stage. But most people are bought in, they're just not bought in their backyard. So like everyone agrees with digital transformation and agile transformation, but there's always but not this, but not this, but not this. And so the negotiated sort of path is it's never thorough enough, and it's never complete enough. And there's too many gaps. There's too much of the wrong models, the wrong decisions, the wrong skill sets. and everyone's bought in, but everyone doesn't really understand what the path is, or what what's a good decision, what's a bad decision, and following that transformation journey.
So, how can risk ready executives convince the more risk adverse people or their counterparts to really believe in and support the transformation?
What we're seeing now, and this is exciting, that there's a lot more digital savvy executives in most companies. So every 3 years, you have new executives. Some executives retire. People move across companies. People get promoted. And I think we're seeing, like, from 6 years ago, it's a much more digitally savvy leadership team and structure. So organizations have evolved an incredible amount in the last 6 years. So now, if you have a risk ready executive, they can be pretty successful because there's been a lot of groundwork that's been laid over the last 6 years. But what they need to do is find a level of independence from the rest of the organization, and to understand what that looks like and how to achieve it. And there's a few strategies that we strongly recommend for that. One is, you want to separate your customer experience layer from the rest of your sort of infrastructure. So you want to have a separate customer experience layer in your organization that could be fully responsive to customers and markets. And then you need to enable the service level agreements between those customer experience teams throughout the rest of the organization. So pick a core problem that you want to solve, and then partner with a company that can help you transform and solve that problem end to end. So you're not compromising on the end state. You're truly getting to a digital first high performing team. Define what that looks like within your organization. And once you have that end to end transformation done on a small slice of your business, then you can start to scale it. But what happens is companies try to solve at the executive level and then push it down, and it never quite works because there's too many activities within a large company that undermine the progress, because people seem bought in, they seem to understand it, and they agree with it, but as soon as it touches their normal way of working, they're uncomfortable, and they avoid that.
Right. So, I'm really curious, how does culture play a role in this entire transformation, maybe for organizations as a whole or just maybe some organizations?
So there's a great a few really interesting books on culture that have come out in the last few years. One is The Culture Code by Daniel Coyle, and the other one is Do Culture's What You Do, Not Who You Are by Ben Horowitz. And it's all about teams and high performing teams that are well positioned to learn and solve problems. And from a cultural perspective, a culture of continuous learning and growth and education, and you know that really creates the ability to grow teams and solve problems. Most organizations aren't well structured for that, and it's an investment in that capability, and using teams and customer outcomes as your core measure and your core incentives within an organization, because otherwise that's not the priority. So culture really is how you work, and how you what you value within an organization. And so if you value teams over individuals, and these team-based results over individual results, that starts giving you a digital first culture. But the challenge with that is it undermines a lot of the incentive structures and the decision making and the priorities of the larger organization.
Well, I don't want to keep you too long today, and I know I've asked you a bunch of questions already. So I just have one final question for executives that are possibly looking to go through this. Do you have three key takeaways really that they should know about digital transformation, either if they're starting it or maybe currently going through the process?
The first is time box it. So if you're going to be digital first, which is the goal of digital transformation, you're going to be customer centric, digital first, focused on customer experience, you need to time box it. If you can't get to market within 3 months, and you can't update your digital solution and market on a weekly basis, then you can't bring data back into your organization. You can't be digital first. So I've talked with a lot of companies, and their digital transformation and their agile transformation has them working on 18-month and 36-month timeframes. And It feels to them intuitively, their intuition's wrong. So shipping faster seems riskier, and it's the opposite of that. So you need to be in market, and you need to be fast in market, and you have to do that. You have to have strong quality and foundational capabilities, but you need to be a lot faster. So anything over 12 weeks as a unit of measure of getting something to market and getting feedback means that you're going to do the wrong kind of transformation. The second one is to take a small slice of the business and get it working end to end in that model. So don't set up another digital factory. They're almost all failures. Don't set up, another innovation group. Take a core business problem within your organization and solve it end to end and transform it, and partner with someone who will help you do that. Then start looking at how you can scale it. Because when you take one problem end to end, you identify all the secret hidden sort of blockers that are undermining the transformation effort. Otherwise, everybody is checking everything is green and they're all on board and everything's moving forward. And then you find another 3 years have passed and there's been no transformation. So, you have speed. The second one is go end to end with a smaller portion of the process. The third is quality. Quality always gets missed. Everything has to be high quality, because if you're digital first and you're in an end state digital transformation, you're shipping all the time, you're learning all the time. Quality can't be compromised. There's very few companies that make an appropriate commitment to quality. So you've got your speed, you've got your sort of slice of the business, you've got your quality, and then the last one is learning. So people feel the more they plan, the more they de-risk things. That's actually the opposite. So again, it goes completely against intuition, but you do a lot better if you prioritize learning over planning. And so now you're going very, very fast. You've picked a small end-to-end slice of your business. You're not compromising on quality, and you're prioritizing learning over planning. Those four things are enough to successfully transform almost any company. And those four things are probably never done. So,
Well, thank you. And I hope that all the executives hear that, and we are going to make sure to put it out so they do. But thanks, Nick, for joining me today. This was wonderful hearing not only about Rangle, but also about digital transformation. And we hope to have you back on here soon.
all right. Well, thank you very much.